There we go. We're live.
Hi.
Hello.
So I'm Paula from Fandom and Books. Whoever wants to go next, feel free.
I'm Christy from What Christy's Reading.
And I'm Brandy from I Ramble Randomly.
You know what? Your channel name is so hard for me not to screw up. I constantly am like, and it's Brandy from I Ramble Reading. No, I rumble up.
You know, I get that a lot.
I ramble randomly.
Like I can say it right in my head really well, but
Yep.
Kind of a tongue twister. I see it.
Oh, why is it not showing up on the video? Is not showing up on the channel, which is weird.
that's bad.
It is bad.
On the channel. Where are we live to then?
Oh, so Chris is watching it, which is interesting. Okay.
How is he watching it?
I have.
Oh,
no
there it
idea.
is. Oh, I see it. There it is.
He's a mythical genius.
So, if you go to pages, your channel's homepage, it's there. It's not in your videos.
It's still not showing up for me.
Oh, I see it on mine.
Well, as long as, well, if you guys want to open the chat, and I'll keep working on it to try and get it going, so at least one of us or all of us can monetize the chat if anybody is
open.
Good.
Chat. Please. Okay, there you go.
Scared me. Why aren't you showing them for me?
That is weird.
It is, but you know, it's us at a live show. Technical difficulties kind of go hand in hand. Ow! Just hit myself in the boob.
Why did you do that?
Anyway, I didn't do it on purpose.
Jeez.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Chris says, "Hi, girls. Hi, Christopher.
Hello. Hello, Christopher." So yeah, we are here to talk about this book, Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Yay!
Mine's better because it's white.
Yeah.
That's racist.
Yeah, don't put words in my mouth.
Yeah, but look who's my like buddy and everything. So no.
Okay, but I have my Alice in Wonderland tea mug, which you are all insanely jealous of, I'm sure.
But I have this.
And if you're not, you should be. I have that too.
Yeah, but you don't have it right now.
That's true.
I feel very unprepared for this live show, actually. I got nothing.
You're fine.
I got the book. So
that's
well,
the
that's the important bit.
Yeah.
Well, did you actually finish the book?
I did.
Well, that's the main thing.
It was a close call, but I did.
So proud of you.
You know what? I just finished it the other day too. I read it a lot slower than I normally do, and I kind of wish that I hadn't, because I feel like it took too long for the story to rest. Like I didn't want to read it in 2 days, but I also didn't want to read it over 2.5 weeks, which is what I did. And so
yeah,
I'm afraid that there's going to be things from the beginning of the story that I have forgotten, which is the way it goes, I guess. But I guess we should talk about what the book's about, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm still trying to find. I'm still trying to find
I'll
the
do
video.
that then.
Yes, you do that. Oh my god.
Heartless by Marissa Meyer. If you're not familiar with Marissa Meyer, what rock have you been living under? She amazing Lunar Chronicles. And this just came out this year in November, and it is the origin story of the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. And it kind of talks about how she became the Queen of Hearts, which I guess I explained when I said it was the origin story. But yeah, it's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and that world has been adapted and reworked and rewritten so many times, and in so many different ways. But I will say, I know we haven't gotten into the story, but I will say that I was really impressed with what she did and the changes that she made. I think she really kept true to Lewis Carroll's vision of land, which I don't think that all of them have done, all of the adapters.
Yeah.
So
some people have come along and just completely like screwed up Wonderland.
Yeah. Frank Fedor. I didn't say that.
The first one was okay.
The first one was very good. I gave it 4 stars. It was the other 2 that I didn't like.
Yeah, because then it was like okay, I've done it okay now, and now yeah.
Actually, that was still better than, which I didn't like at all. Like, I didn't even finish that one. So
I haven't read those. So yeah, my pizza has just arrived. So yeah, so I will be occasionally munching on pizza. So I'm hungry. It's like, nearly 9:10. I'm hungry. So it's gonna happen.
You could have eaten dinner when like normal people eat dinner. I'm just saying.
No. Look who you're talking to.
What was I thinking?
Yeah. Okay. So back to the book. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. You guys' star rating?
Mine was also 4 out of 5.
Full star. I would have given it 10 stars if I could. I loved it. I mean, I know that I'm biased. I already love Alice in Wonderland, but then I think I probably was harder on it than I would be in a dynasty book because I love Alice in Wonderland so much. But yeah, I was really impressed. I loved it. I thought it was almost perfect.
I loved it too. I think it just ended too abruptly for me.
I will agree with that.
I felt the exact same. Yeah.
It was just like, yeah. Oh, okay, and we're done.
Well, and you bring up a good point because I was, starting the book. Kath is a really nice person. Like, she's got a big heart, and she's happy, and life is good, and she's got these dreams that she's afraid aren't going to come true, but she's just like the Queen of Hearts. And so progressing, and I'm getting 100 pages, 200 pages, almost 300 pages, and I'm like, when does she start turning into a bad person? Because that's got to happen sometime. And then it was like right there near the end, and so it did really happen like that, but I could see why. But
yeah, I think the ending came too abrupt, and for me personally, I thought it was a little predictable. I mean, she was like, because she was nice for so long, and obviously they were like showing the love story between Kath and Jess, which was just like, no, I loved it, but it was so obvious to me what was gonna happen within their love story. I was just like, well, we all know it's gonna end badly.
I think that was one of the things that I have about like reading. I love villain backstories. I love when you see the multifaceted nature of villains. But when it starts with a villain who is so nice, like Kath was such a good person, and you start to feel for her and get attached to her, and you just know that something really bad's gonna happen, and that was just the whole time. I don't want it to happen. I really like you. Don't.
Yes, exactly. Because like with Fairest, spoilers, because we all know that Levana's the bad person in the series. But
I love that retelling though. I thought it was amazing.
Because like she doesn't start out as this innocent, big puppy dog hearted person. She's already got her own issues from the beginning. So you never really get to be very attached to her. But Kath, yeah, you're like, oh, but you really just want her to open her bakery with Mary Ann. I wanted her to do that, and I want her to be in jest and them have little and whatnot. But yeah,
jumping ahead. Sorry, but jumping ahead, since you just mentioned the bakery and Marianne and all the rest of it. How she turned so quickly on her best friend is like I understand it, but I was just like reading it, going, "Whoa, bitch, no."
Well, and I kind of cutting in. I think it's a common trope. Marianne was her best friend when she had no other real friends. When Jess was there to kind of replace Marianne, I think that she was knocked down a couple of pegs in Kath's hierarchy of important people, and then when Marianne
got
did her
herself
thing,
a boyfriend, therefore didn't.
Basically, yeah. I mean, that's common for teenage girls. Although I guess Kath isn't teenage in the book.
Well, either way, she's sheltered, and can we just talk about her mum for a second? Jesus.
Oh my goodness gracious, her mom. You need to back away. And her dad being spineless until right there when he's not, and all of a sudden he's not in favor of her mom, which just makes it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it was really hard to see her when she started to become mean, but some of the things she said was so satisfying. Like when she was talking to her mom, it's like, yes, thank you for saying something.
I guess we should probably go closer to the beginning before we start getting into all what happened to the end. I'm impressed with you had these characters. It's the origin story of Kath, but it's also the origin story of some of these other characters, or at least a backstory of these other characters. And so to see how Hatter, the Mad Hatter came into being, and I loved what happened with the turtle becoming the mock turtle. I thought that was genius. It's probably one of my most favorite parts of the book, although it was really sad for the mock turtle.
Ridiculous. It was so sad.
But yeah, and then the Alice's Adventures in Wonderland during the trial at the end of the book is the Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts all on the summer's day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole the tarts, and I think, or something like that. And she used that. So that's why the Queen would be baking tarts, because in her previous life she loved to bake. And we know from the beginning of this book that Jack the Knave was kind of a jerk, and was a spoiled brat and stole things, and was just petulant and whatnot. And so what she did with those things.
I'm sorry, I've just managed to finally get the chat open.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to look at the chat. Oh,
see,
Debbie's Libraries. I know, I failed. I can't look at the chat screen at all times because the delay is several moments later, and so I get confused with the conversation if I'm not looking at the Hangout screen.
It's okay. I've got it now. It's cool. We're good.
Okay, so Debbie's Library says, "Hi everyone. Hi Debbie."
Hi Deb.
And Robin says, 4 stars for me. I kept hoping the Queen was someone else. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
A lot easier.
I would have liked to actually see the White Queen. I would have liked a little bit of that going on, but
yes, and that was.
I did like. Sorry, no. I think me and Christy talked about this when we actually chatted on Wednesday. That we liked how Chess and Hearts were 2 separate places.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And not connected. They were completely different worlds that you couldn't just, it's not like the US and Canada where you just cross the borders. I mean, they're completely separate entities, and and not really even know much about the other from the one, and I thought that was really cool.
Mhm.
And can I just say that the three sisters that live in the well, they're kind of creepy. Like, she wrote that really, really well. And the first time when when Jess takes Kath to fix her ankle, I was just like, oh yeah, well that goes along with the original story. But then when they go to travel to Chess, and oh my goodness, they're scary little girls right there. I don't want to mess with them.
As you probably all know, that Cheshire Cat is one of my favoritist of all the favorites, and I was so happy that she stayed true to Cheshire's complete nonchalance and just being like, Psh, whatevs. I loved his voice in this book. It was perfectly Cheshire Cat. So
I agree completely, and I love the fact that he has kind of always been. There was no origin for him. He was exactly the same as he was in the, and I think that he's that type of, in a world of complete nonsense, he's the most nonsensical one, you know?
Mm-hmm. But the one that knows everything.
Yeah, I liked him a lot.
Okay.
Well, and I love that. Oh,
go on.
Oh, I was just going to say,
No,
you have Marianne, who, if you've read Lewis Carroll's book, then you know that Marianne is the handmaiden for the White Rabbit. So it wasn't going to work, like we said, because you know that Marianne has to start working for the White Rabbit. So I loved how she did that, and then I love that. Who was I can't think of her name. The girl that dated the Duke, that ended up getting together with the Duke.
Margaret.
The one that was kind of
Margaret Morrow.
So you knew she was going to be the Duchess way back at the beginning because she used the morals.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was awesome.
I could have slapped her though. I could not have dealt with having a friend like that.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And then to try to mix in that I don't know if it's Mother Goose, it may not be, about Peter, Pumpkin Eater and whatnot. Yeah. But I will say that I figured out what was happening with that pretty quickly. Like, as soon as the Mock Turtle became the Mock Turtle, I was like, oh.
I think she did a great thing, bringing in the references of Lewis Carroll and giving each one their own little backstory, even if it wasn't the major plot point. I think she did do it really, really well, but like I said, it felt too rushed and a little bit too predictable for me. So that's why I only got 4.
Yeah.
But I was super geek happy when Cheshire was like in it pretty much beginning. I was like, yay! And then we hardly saw her throughout, which was a tad annoying for me, but never mind. Okay, so favorite characters. Anyone?
Oh, I liked Jest a lot too, and I love the fact that he was just kind of like snarky and sarcastic. I thought that was perfect.
I also liked who the Raven turned into.
Say it again.
I liked who the Raven turned into at the end.
What, the executioner? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked Just as well, and the whole way through the beginning of the book, it's like, hey, this guy is he's pretty he's pretty perfect. So I was looking for like a flaw in him, and then even when you found out it wasn't even that big of a flaw at the end of it, he was pretty perfect. He's a pretty good guy.
Right, yeah.
Which I mean, it has like a character being perfect is it's nice, but then it's also kind of like not nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you know something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, especially because I I haven't read any of the like Lewis Carroll's actual stories, but it's as soon as there's a character that you don't recognize from the source material, you just gotta worry.
Well, that's the thing, is that I kept going through and picking. I was like, so Margaret is the Duchess, and this person is this, and then I'm like, but who's the Jest? Who's Jest? Oh, Jest isn't in the next book,
No,
so I know how this is going to end. Yeah,
Jess is just made up.
Yeah.
and I loved like the subtle changes she made, like the March hares.
Hair.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I didn't like the Mad Hatter that much. Well, I guess he's not the Mad Hatter. I only like him when he's nuts, apparently.
And you bring up a good point. He is very commonly one of the most favorite characters because he's so absurd and so just silly. But he was not in this book, and he was the Mad Hatter. But yeah, I think that he was one of my least favorite characters because he was just so quick to judge and be against certain things, and yeah.
I think it's also because he was obviously him and Jess were on this mission, so he played everything very close to the chest. But when stuff started happening, you'd be like, well, you know, let go a little bit, but it was just like, no, I'm just gonna be a dick anyway. Sorry, Robin's just put in the chat. I haven't read Alice in Wonderland, so I didn't know that the people who were supposed to be in the story. And Debbie's put, I read it, but it was a while ago. I'm the same, Debbie. I read it a while ago too.
And I'm the same, Robin. I haven't read it.
And I'm disappointed in all of you. You should read it every 6 months, whether you want to or not. Watch an adaptation. And I'm not talking about the Disney ones, either of them, because they're not adaptations. If you're going to watch one in like 1986, and it's got Sammy Davis Jr. and Carol Channing and Telly Savalas, I mean, just like a ridiculous amount of people in it. And there's two, there's the Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, and they're both and very, very well to the book.
Sorry, me and Christy have had that conversation before. It's like I like Alice in Wonderland, but you know, Christy's not. I'm sorry, just spat everywhere. Christy's knowledge of Alice in Wonderland is ridiculous.
Well, I wouldn't say it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm not as big a fan as some people, but
it is. Robin has put, do I need to be drunk when I read it? No, but I'm sure it'll help. I mean, you feel like you've like sometimes. I think with any Lewis Carroll thing, you do feel like, you know, you come up from a paragraph or whatever and go, did I just get drop acid? Did that just happen? And then you carry on. So I don't think you need alcohol. I think his writing just magically does that for you.
Yeah, basically.
Debbie's favorite character would probably be Jess or Catherine, and she was really annoyed by Kath's parents. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and it pissed me off, her parents, because she, you know, they push her and push her and push her to marry the king, and then at the end, when she's like, okay, fine, I'm going to marry the king because this is the only way that I can get any kind of vindication for Just's murder. Dad's like, be happy. Are you sure this is what you want? And I'm like, I know you're going to ask the question, which character would you like to slap? That's right there, her dad at that moment.
Well,
because
to me, it would have been her mum all the time.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but at least her mom was like, like she was straight. I'm a duty head all the time. That's just the way I am. I'm very, very selfish, and I only care about what I want. But her dad, kind of played both sides a little bit too much. And
I think Kath's answer to that was perfect. It was like, well, you should have asked me well before this. I thought that was such a good answer. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah. I will complain about the way that Kath treated Marianne there at the end, because like you said, she was supposed to be her best friend, and complain about what was going on when Kath had disappeared, and she was worried for her own safety, or for Kath's safety rather. And so she's going to do what she can do to try to help Kath survive. And so for Kath to just kind of like cut her off at that point. Forgive.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it had to be so that Marianne would go and work for the rabbit and not be the queen's friend, but still.
It was pretty harsh.
Well, that was one thing that kind of like, I know she was completely heartbroken, but she got really mean to like everybody really fast. And that was, I think, part of what, like the ending that I didn't like, where it went really, really, really quickly, and I couldn't quite follow it, and it didn't quite seem as, not believable, but it just didn't seem as natural as other stuff that happened in the book.
Yeah, I had kind of figured that she was going to turn into the Queen of Hearts that we know from the original story, because she was going to lose her heart. And so would not be able to feel anymore. But for her to have already be, like you said, Brandy, to already be so angry and so hateful towards everybody, even before the sisters, that was a little bit out of sequence, I think.
Sorry, eating pizza. Num 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 num.
What's more important, us or pizza?
You don't know how hungry I am. Okay. What scene do you think was the most pivotal in the book? So what one scene kind of stands out for you to be the whole case of like, oh, okay. Other than the obvious with Jess telling her his plot.
No, that's a hard question.
You're welcome.
So yeah, the one scene that when I have to pick a scene in the book that like affected me the most, I want to say it was the scene with the sisters when they had to give up their things and go through the maze and then deal with the sisters being creepy and whatnot. But that's not really pivotal to the story, because that was already, like, everything had already started. I mean, I guess that does lead to, finding out where the Jabberwocky came from and the end of Jest and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think
I want to know. Sorry,
go on.
Go ahead.
No, go on.
I was going to say, I want to know what was up Peter and his wife's butt from the beginning. Like, they were like jerks at the black and white ball at the beginning of the book. So why such buttheads all the time?
I think
it was just a kick.
I think they were just
go for it, Brandy.
I think they were just like trying to. There was like a class difference, and so they were invited there simply because they were knighted for eating pumpkins, and people were still kind of looking down on them, or like they perceived everybody to be looking down on them, and maybe read into it more than actually was. I think that's kind of what was going on. But even before that,
and that's.
When they were telling the story of Hatter like throwing the seeds, they were already like that. They already kind of had that we don't want your charity kind of situation. So yeah, they just really don't want people to look down on them, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. See, and that because I started the book the week before Christmas, so it was a long time ago, and some of the beginning stuff just. Brain. I have a brain like a sieve.
He was a dick. He was a dick.
Oh yeah.
Let's be real. Okay. Any pivotal scenes for you, or any scenes that stick out in your head, Brandy?
Just really the scene at the play when Jess started fighting, and then Catherine pulled out the Vorpal sword and all of that kind of stuff. Because it just kind of I mean, it's not a very like insightful answer, but it was like that was when you finally saw everything was laid out. You didn't quite know about Peter's wife yet, but you could pretty much by that point already have a really good idea that that was happening, and that was kind of leading into everything being out in the open.
Yeah. I think one of the favorite scene for me is when Jess and Kath actually met for the first time when she like ran out of the ball, because I think that was just one of those, especially when she woke up and then she was going to the carriage and she realized that, like, you know, she could breathe and he passed her the corset laces. And she's like, oh! It just amused me. Did anything surprise you about the book?
No,
Take that as a no.
Really.
Any quotes that stood out to you?
Gosh. I need to start like writing that kind of stuff down.
I really enjoyed Kath and Jess banter back and forth. I really liked their relationship because it was very equal. Oh, and the king and his stupid poetry. All of the food things, I was laughing so hard.
Oh, that's another thing about this book. I mean, as soon as I started reading it, I was like, damn, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Just the descriptions of all the foods and the tarts and the sweet. I was like, oh, I want one. I want one right now. You want to reach in the book and just take one out of the book because they just sounded so delicious. It was like,
I love the images of the book, and that's one of the things because I've only ever seen the Disney adaptations, but even so, that's one of the interesting things about them is just like the images of the setting, like the colors, the shapes, all of the different kind of things, and I love that element in this book too. And I'd like to see this, how they set it up in a movie form. That was the whole thing. It's like, I'd like to see what this looks like in a movie. I want to see.
Well, yes, I fully agree with that. I definitely think this needs to be a movie, more so than any of her other books, and I think it would be amazing. I love that Lewis Carroll did that thing where fly, and it would be a horse with wings, and a butterfly would be buttered bread, and she did that with another animal, another critter, for which one it was. But I love that she continued that on. And then also I liked how there were new answers to the riddle, why is a raven like a writing desk, that I hadn't heard before. And I don't know if you guys read the author's note in the back, but
I don't think so.
But she said, it says that it's commonly believed that when Hatter posed his unanswerable riddle in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, why is a raven like a writing desk, Carroll did not have an answer in mind. However, after being pestered for years, he finally caved in with a response. Recorded in the preface, he wrote in the 1896 edition of Alice, because it can produce a few notes, though they are very flat, and it is never put with the wrong N in front, never being spelt wrong, N-A-V-E, or N-E-V-A-R, which is raven backwards. And then she's talking about how she, apparently fans have been coming up with their own, and that she came up with her own that she put into the book. But she goes, my personal favorite comes from Tony Weston, one of the winners of a contest posed by The Spectator in 1991. in which he said, because a writing desk is a rest for pens and a raven is a pest for wrens, which I think is very clever.
Yeah. Cool. I have to actually read that bit now.
Yeah, it's only 2 pages. You can read it.
Excuse me. Like I said, the chat is open if you want to ask questions in the chat or just generally chat away in the chat. We can all see it now, which is a bonus. Chat in the chat.
Novel.
Yes. So, yeah, Brandy, if you could smack any character, which one would it be?
Margaret quite a few times.
Oh, gosh.
And I agree, the mother and father would have gotten some slaps as well. There was a lot of characters that deserved a good slap.
Yeah. To be fair, I think the Hatter would have got a backhander at some point from me.
Seriously.
I did like the just randomly. So, side note, the history of how the White Rabbit got his watch. I thought that was really cool. I know we were just so taken with it. No?
Wait.
When Jest gave him the watch.
I don't remember that part.
What?
Remember that part.
That was because he pulled the rabbit from the hat, and the rabbit was so offended that he was pulled from the hat. So then he gave him this like really expensive looking watch, and he was appeased.
See, it was at the beginning of the book. Gosh darn, I'm gonna have to read the book again. I seriously think that I'm gonna go through and listen to it on audio here pretty soon because I would love to go through the story again.
Yeah.
And I am who can reread books like that. Like normally I have to wait like 5 years in between each book before I reread it. But
the audio is okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. Because I switched between.
Yeah, I started with the audiobook as well, and then I just finished the book by itself.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Maybe I shouldn't invest in the audiobook then.
But yeah, I did like the nods to the full Lewis Carroll story. So they were good. Even the reference to the Tweedles who were in chest, it was like, what? I would have liked to have seen them in the story, but hey ho.
Hey ho.
Hey ho.
I'd like to think that if Lewis Carroll was still alive today and he had read and seen all the adaptations done about his story, I think that he would probably approve of this one the most. Of the ones that I have been exposed to, which I don't even are all of them.
No, not even slightly. No, I enjoyed it. It was good. I honestly felt like because I loved Fairest so much, I felt like she could have done more. But then I guess because Queen Lavanna is her own creation and she has more in the way of her arsenal, should I say, there could be more done with Queen Lavanna's backstory than with the Queen of Hearts, because it's pretty much like, it's like all you know from the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland is that she's just like evil, just off with that head, and painting the white roses red.
Oh yes, and I loved how she did Beth. Why, at the end of the book, she's like, Jess brought her that, and that was their special flower thingy, and for love that as a great example or explanation of why All the Roses needed to be read all of a sudden, and so
yeah.
I really liked it. I thought it was a really good adaptation. I'm really, really happy. I have to say, guys, that I realize that we've only been doing this since August, but there hasn't been a book that we've picked that hasn't been awesome, like really a good book that I'm glad that I have read. And several of them have been books that I probably would have put off for a long, long time and missed out on. I mean, obviously not this one, because I would have read this one right away anyway. But like I probably would have never picked up My Lady Jane had it not been one of the book club's book of the month. And
I would not have picked up What We Saw on my own.
Well, I had it, so obviously I would have picked it up. But I will say that What We Saw is probably at the bottom of the list, but it's still, compared to some of the other books that I have read, it's still way up high in my grading scale, just of the book clubs, at least.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy that I read it, but it's not my favorite book that we've done in the book club.
Yeah. I would have read this Savage Song no matter what, because Victoria Schwab, and I'm so glad that you guys got to experience Victoria Schwab.
Okay, you have no idea how happy I am that we reread that book. That's my favorite one.
Left it in California for my mom to read because I was so blown away by it. I'm like, this is awesome, Mom. You got to read this. And she did, and she brought it with her when she came to visit for Christmas. And I was like, so what'd you think? And she's like, it was weird. I'm like, no. Is it more? I had a hard time understanding the world and whatnot. I'm like, I can't. I have to disown you now. But
I'd just be like, okay, take the book, go away, read it again, and then come back.
I wouldn't have considered that, but she'd had it for the past 3 months, and I wanted it back. So
fair comment.
We should. I know that we're doing the voting thing, but we should definitely. I think to pick our Dark Duet as the book of the month when it comes out.
Oh yeah, that's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry, that's happening, and it's just like you're gonna have 3 choices, and it's gonna be a Dark Duet, a Dark Duet, a Dark Duet. That's it.
It has to be the month it comes out. It's happening.
So if you didn't read this Savage Song with us, then you have like the next 5 months, because doesn't our Dark Duet come out in the summer?
Yeah.
July or June. Yeah. So you have a couple of months to get through this Savage Song so that you're prepared.
Do you guys have any other thoughts, questions about this book?
No.
No? You got stuck!
Nothing that I didn't say before is I really liked it. I liked the world. I feel like they should make a cookbook dedicated to this particular story. I would love that. But yeah, I really liked it. We talked about the problems at the ending, but
it's coming. Sorry, Dark Duet's coming out on the 13th of June, apparently.
Oh, okay.
So it's not going to be at the beginning of a month.
Yeah.
So it'll be like our July book, maybe?
Yeah.
Yes, happy birthday to me.
Yeah. So I turned 40 in May. We have to make sure that we pick a good book for May so that it'll help soften the blow of turning 40.
Okay,
Not very keen on.
Chris has commented saying, is it made of waffles?
The book?
I don't know. Just literally, is it made of waffles?
If it isn't, it should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll go with yes.
There are lots of things that would be made better by being made of waffles.
Definitely.
See, the only thing
waffles,
is like, yeah,
for one thing.
That's the only thing. If you actually had an edible cookbook, it's like, you'd be like, tasty, and then you wouldn't. She'd be like,
Yeah.
what was that recipe again? Oh, well.
You know what they should make? They should make a cookbook where the pages are scented, like whatever the thing is you're supposed to be cooking.
Oh, I would so cook so much that way. Or I would just sit there with my nose in a book all the time.
Yeah. It could be used as a diet book. It's like, don't eat, just smell. Oh, happy birthday for Robin in June. She turns 50.
Who does?
Robin.
Hey,
Happy pre-birthday.
we'll be decade birthday buddies.
Debbie asked, what do you think about Kath's decision of going through the door, even though she was told not to? Brackets, I was away for a bit, so I don't know if we'd already talked about it. No, we hadn't talked about it.
Well, okay. So, my first thought was like, just you know that everything bad, it's not just bad going to happen to you if you go through the door. Everything bad is going to happen for everybody if you go through the door. And you were warned, there's someone's going to be a monarch, someone's going to be murdered, and someone's going to be a martyr. And we all kind of can figure out who's going to be what. But then it's Marianne, and Marianne's going to die. So I think that if Kath hadn't gone through the door, she probably would have regretted it for the rest of her life, although she would have had Just. So that probably would have offset some of that pain of losing Marianne.
Yeah, but the
and
way
I think
that
that
she
if you were to
managed
ask
to...
her now...
Sorry, the way
Go
that
ahead.
she ended up turning on her, it was just like, well, why don't you just let her die then?
Well, but that's the thing, is that I think that she blames Marianne in part for losing Jess, because if she hadn't saved Marianne, then Jess would still be alive. So it's Marianne's fault. Not only did she turn on her and tell her parents everything, but then she got herself caught by the crazy murderer pumpkin guy.
But she also forgot earlier when Marianne was like, oh, I saw something at the thing I want to tell you about. And she's like, no, not right now. So that whole situation could have been avoided if she would have just listened to her at the beginning.
Yeah.
Very true. I think
But even...
she just can't own up to her own crap.
Yeah.
Well, no, of course. Well, but she's brought up in the genteel class, so they're not very good about owning up to their own mistakes and their responsibilities.
There was nothing genteel about her parents. Let's be real. Oh, ow, I'm stuck. Ow, ow, ow.
I keep going back to, is it made of waffles? Now I want waffles.
Yeah, I want waffles now. Damn you! I would like waffles.
So brunch is very, very popular here. There's lots and lots of brunch places, which was not the case in California. And so we go out like after church and get, even though it's kind of late for brunch, we get that. And so last Sunday I had the most amazing waffles. They were like cinnamon and something. They were just awesome. It was like cinnamon butter and everything. It was, I really want waffles.
Yeah, me too, thanks. Yeah, but you could have breakfast for dinner.
I could, but I have a waffle maker somewhere. I've never used it before. I don't know how to make waffles. Waffles are the kind of thing that I want somebody to make for me and bring them to me and then feed them to me so that I don't have to move at all.
Okay, going a little bit overboard, but I would have just been happy for the waffles to be brought to me. Yeah. Are there any books that you would compare this one to, other than Alice in Wonderland, obviously?
I was gonna say, well. The only comparison that I can make is to point out how much of a better adaptation it was than any of the others that I have read. And I mean, there are others that haven't been so much an Alice in Wonderland, just have had aspects of Alice in Wonderland in them. And I'm thinking of some of the books like The Land of Stories book that we're reading right now is going to have, I believe, some Alice in Wonderland in there, and it's just not as it doesn't hold a candle to this. I thought this was such a good rendition.
Yeah.
I haven't read a lot of books that incorporate fairy tale elements. Like I've seen pretty much every movie and TV show that does that, but I haven't read any books. So I don't know a lot of anything that would have like go with it, but it doesn't matter. I liked it. I liked it all on its own.
I think the best like TV adaptation is probably I was upset that they cancelled the Once Upon a Time in Wonderland because I was quite enjoying that, and then they cancelled it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
I felt the same.
It was good, but obviously not as many people are freaks about Alice in Wonderland as we are. Clearly.
But they should be.
They should
Well,
be.
we know this. We know this. So we actually, you meant the words. No.
Yes.
Words. If you're from the Goodreads group, you will know that we did the poll to start the year, and we chose
and
3
I'm
books.
offended because you guys didn't pick my book.
But I'm not offended because you picked mine. So we're going to be reading The Night Circus.
Night Circus! Well, and I would like to say that I have already read The Night Circus, but I read it like 3 or 4 years ago, and I read it on audio, and so I think I'm going to read it in physical form this time. I loved it on audio. I gave it 5 stars. I think it's an amazingly magical story. But yeah, I'm excited about rereading it. It's one of the books that I've wanted to reread.
And I knew that she wanted to reread it, and it's been sat on my shelf staring at me for me to read for absolutely ever. And I was just like, I don't know which book to pick. No, I'll go with that one. There we go. And then if it got chosen, it kind of forces me to read it. So that was another bonus. So thank you for making me read the book that has just been sat there forever.
Yeah, that one's been on my TBR pile for years.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy now.
Notice that, Brandy, you picked a different book, but you voted for The Night Circus.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Didn't even vote for your own book, lady.
I didn't vote for any of them. I was just like, well, everybody choose your thing.
I don't even remember voting. That's my So it's like, did I really? I don't remember that.
Robin says that she read it a long time ago, but she'll reread it though. So yay!
Oh, yay. Good, good, good.
And then you guys can let us know if it differed from how you read it. Well, how you read it differed between reading it. So like if you enjoyed it while rereading it or that kind of thing. The Night Circus. Sorry, Debbie has put The Night Circus was a book that would have been on my TBR for January anyway because of Carnival, which will come out at the end of January. Yeah, I've heard some things about Carnival. I don't know if I'm going to read that one or not though.
Is it? I don't know if I know anything about it. Is it a? Is somebody else writing it? It's not like a.
Yeah, no.
Who is it by?
I'm looking it up.
Look it up faster.
Shut up! Have you seen how mean she is to me, people?
There's a lot of books named Carnival on Goodreads. I don't know which one it is.
Oh, yeah. I can't. Spelling issue. I don't know.
A before E except after C.
Or when E sounds like A, as in neighbor and way.
Shut up.
Ooh, I didn't
Stephanie Garber.
Stephanie?
Stephanie? That looks like this. La 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 la.
B-E-R? Ah, there it is. Oh, Caraval. That's why it's not Carnival, it's Caraval. Oh, well, that looks. Oh, I have it on my want to read. I wonder.
Yeah, it's on my want to read, but it's just one of those where it's like I'll get around to it eventually. But then again, my want to read pile is, huge.
Yeah, no kidding.
Fact. New books.
I did go through and clear it out.
Yeah, my to be read pile is 730.
I recently cleared mine out. I think I took off like 250 books. Now it's at 476.
See, I wish I could get the time back for books that I didn't like. That would be amazing. Just be like, I read this book, I didn't like it. Give me my time back. Could spend it so much better on a better book.
That would be lovely.
Yes, it would.
So anyway, I'm excited about the Night Circus. When I read it, I listened to it on audio, as I said, and Jim Dale is a narrator who's amazing, by the way. He's the guy who narrated all the Harry Potter books, and I think he's just the best narrator almost ever. But I didn't have any idea what the story was about. I was already a third of the way through it. I didn't understand that it was a kind of magical type of book, and so I think that I will be able to appreciate the beginning time, having kind of what to expect, and I'll be able to clue in on some of those little nuances that they always put in the beginning of a book that the first time you read it you miss out on.
Yeah, well, it's been on my list for absolutely ages because I tried listening to it on audio and I don't know what the heck it was. There was just complete disconnect between me listening to it on audio and getting it all together in my head. I had the same issue with Clockwork Angel, sorry. It's just like listening to it on audio, I just could not get into it, and then started reading the book instead of listening to it on audio, and I was just like, okay, this is amazing, here we go. So hopefully that will happen with this. So I'm excited.
Well, being English yourself, I'm sure the narrator is not quite the same as it is for me. Like, I can listen to a proper British accent for days and days and be very happy.
See, the thing is with Jim Dale, he's not the person that I listened to doing the Harry Potter books. It was Stephen Fry for me. And even though I do have both versions of Jim Dale and Stephen Fry doing the books, Stephen Fry did such a better job. Personally, I think he was amazing. Yeah, that's just my humble opinion. I could listen to Stephen Fry talk forever, to be fair.
I like Stephen Fry too, yeah.
Yeah, when I was listening to it, I listened to Stephen Fry as well.
See, I think that the next time that I go through and reread the books, which will happen, I'll listen to the Stephen Fry version, just so that I can have a comparison.
So you'll just probably be there listening to it going, it's wrong. Because I think we had that when listening to the Dresden Files, when James Masters couldn't actually do the audio for one of the books. And it was done by, what's his face?
Somebody else inferior.
Yes, John Glover. It was done by John Glover, and he has got an amazing voice, and he was really, really well. He read it really well, but it wasn't James Masters, so therefore it wasn't Dresden. So I was listening to the audio, just cringing at everything. I was like, "Oh God, no, it's horrible."
But if I recollect correctly, and he re-recorded it.
Yeah, he did. I have that version now. I fixed it.
Well, and I will say that Marsters, especially the earlier books, there's several mistakes in there, and there's some things
Definitely.
where so I don't know that he is like the greatest narrator, but he is now Dresden. So
Yes.
it's like, you know, it doesn't matter if he's good at it or not. He is that character, and
Mm.
I'm listening to changes, and I'm enjoying it so much. I've forgotten how much I really enjoy the whole world of Harry Dresden.
I finished White Knight last night, so it's
You're
good.
catching up on me.
Well, yeah, but this is like the fourth reread all the way through.
I know, that's crazy.
I like them, okay?
They're good books.
They
They're
are.
good books. But
Robin loves Jim Dale. I looked for other versions and couldn't find it. The other versions
yeah,
of Harry Potter or other versions of the Night Circus?
if she means Harry Potter, the Stephen Fry versions, Robin, are the UK versions. So they're not released here in the United States. Although I have found YouTube, like I put in a search for Harry Potter Stephen Fry, and somebody had just put them all up there. I don't know if they're still there. This was like a year ago, but
yeah, she means Harry Potter.
Okay.
And she's just started the Dresden Files as well. Yay!
They're good books, and they're great on audio books to listen to. I will say that one of the Jim Dale version of Harry Potter is that for the first four books, maybe first three books, he calls him Voldemort. Pronounce it in French, but then
that's how you're supposed to say it.
yeah, and it's a French name. But then when the first movie came out, and all of the characters in the movie called him Voldemort, and so all of a sudden in the next book, Jim Dale's pronouncing it at Voldemort, and it was like he put so much emphasis on that T. Said it throughout the book. You could tell that he was just like, this is not how it's supposed to be pronounced, but I'm my job, so Voldemort.
To be honest, Stephen Fry did that too.
Oh, did he?
With Axio, you know, the come here charm. He said like Axio all the way through, and then in like the last couple, because it was said in the movies, and they said Accio, he changed it. And it was like, that just sounds wrong to me now. Right. Even when they say it in the movie, I'm like, you're pronouncing it wrong. How dare you? So yeah.
Okay, so I guess. Yay! Why did you type it yay?
Because she just started the Dresden Files.
Potter. Yay! I cheer for Harry Potter too.
I cheer for all of them. Woohoo! Yeah.
So okay, so yeah. we have a shorter amount of time to read The Night Circus because we had to postpone the live show of this for after Christmas. So we don't have the entire month, which is another reason why I'm not listening to it, because it takes me longer to listen to an audiobook, especially because I'm in the middle of one already.
But we can do it. We can do it.
We can do it. Yes. You can do it.
Yes. And after we finished, when we wrap up this live show, we will be discussing about what books to put on for you guys to choose for February. Because
I gotta pick another book.
Yeah, because we're it's like all of us, I think, are just amazing at procrastinating. I think it's one of our best pastimes. We can procrastinate like nobody's business. It's just if we could get paid for procrastinating, we'd be all millionaires.
Preach,
or probably
sister.
Billionaires.
Oh yeah.
So we do apologize for being so slack and everything, But we will get there eventually, and we do really, really enjoy the book club and doing all this and chatting with you guys. It's just, life gets in the way. And we're lazy.
I want to apologize for not really chatting much in the threads this book. Like I really made an effort to do it for the last month's book, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I had all these plans for this month, and I just my family, it's like the whole world stopped when my family showed up, and it's taken me this long to kind of recuperate from that. I loved having them here, but it kind of sent everything in a tailspin. So I will do better this month.
And also,
unless I don't, and then I'm sorry again.
I've been very interested in the last 4 months where it comes to being involved in the online part of this. So I'm working hard now. This is the new year. Everything is gonna fall into place, right?
Yeah. Well,
No, but I am going to make an effort to be there more than I have been in the past.
Robin and Debbie both say that they're lazy too, and Robin's just like, it's the perfect book club for me. So,
oh, great,
winning. I'm glad we're doing something right. It's like, we do try and we do get there eventually. That's the main thing.
People
it's
of
like
the world. Sorry, go ahead.
Lazy people of the world, have a nap and do it later.
After this nap. Yeah.
Speaking of talking and doing the thread and everything, this is all the notes that I managed to do. I got to chapter 3 and then I just gave up writing notes. So I was just like, because I've been so sick, it's been ridiculous. So yeah, I'm only just starting to feel normal, and then I get up every morning and it's like I've been visited by the snot fairy. So, TMI, but hey, we all know what being sick's like. Come on. So, yeah, that's been happening.
I hate the snot fairy.
Oh, she's a bitch.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I'm excited to read The Night Circus eventually. I've only been meaning to read it for about 4 years. But yeah, I'm glad that we're eventually getting around to it. And are we ready? Is there any other things that you guys want to talk about or say or mention before we end this? Any other questions in the chat before we say good evening, good afternoon, and good night?
That's from the Upside Down show.
Truman Show.
Oh, that's right. It's from the Truman Show. It's a completely different show than the Upside Down show, let me tell you.
They have no idea what the Upside Down show is.
It's a kids show that was really popular when my girls were really little. It's I think they're Australian. They're a comedian duo, and their comedy is actually very adult-like, but it is easily adapted for children, and it's a nonsense show. And David and Shane, lots of mime and silliness, and it's a good show. If you have small children, I would highly recommend it.
Okay, right. Moving on. After that random segue.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I think no one's saying anything in the chat, so I think it's a good time to say good night, good morrow, all the rest of that jazz, and we will figure out what books to choose, and I will put it in the group as soon as possible. I promise.
Okay.
So.
All right.
So I shall say bye.
Bye,
Bye,
guys. Yes.
Bye, guys.